So YouTube's been on a weird kick recently, right? They've been on a weird kick these last 2 years, feels like, right? Because we're coming up on 2 years since Daddy05. And I feel like Daddy05 situation really, really put a lot of this shit into perspective. You know what I mean? I think it put a lot of this stuff into perspective for YouTube. And it also painted a target on the backs of content creators that even remotely might be doing some shit. And YouTube, when reported on, will crack down. I mean, granted, you know, you can report actual death threats or doxing or harassment on YouTube, and they don't do anything about it. As we've seen in many cases where people have had their outright information doxed on YouTube and like they don't care, or threats made and YouTube doesn't care. But at least they act when it comes to children. That part, like I will agree with. Once it's called out, they'll do it. Now, it says here, YouTube shut down the channel 7SuperGirls after its creator was convicted of child abuse. And I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. I covered this a while ago when it happened. When the accusations first came out. But, you know, because this guy was creepy. This guy was creepy. But look here, they had 9,097,000 subscribers. Right? 9 million subscribers. Just like Toy Freak Blog that went down in the fall of 2017 with its 8 million subs. You know, like, here's my question. How bad are those 9 million accounts? The ones that comment on the videos are terrible, but what about the ones that don't comment? And that actually freaks me out even more. But we'll talk about that later on, I guess. Now, it says here, YouTube has shut down a popular channel for tweens called 7SuperGirls after the channel's creator pled guilty to child abuse in a Florida court. We take safety on YouTube very seriously. Yeah, okay. A company spokesperson said in a statement emailed to BuzzFeed News, we work closely with leading child safety organizations and others in our industry to protect young people. When we're made aware of serious allegations of this nature, we take action, which may include terminating channels upon conclusion of the investigation. I would say in this particular account, once the guy pled guilty, it was pretty much the writing was on the wall. Now, Ian Rylett, 55 years old, is one of the founders of the wildly popular YouTube brand 7 Awesome Kids. Established in 2008, the franchise at one point boasted nearly 20 million subscribers across 7 channels. So these people were making some serious cash, right? These people were making some serious damn money. Now, it claimed it had 9 million subscribers and 5 billion views, featuring daily videos from a rotating cast of young women. Rylett paid them a monthly salary in exchange for filming the videos he directed. Now, the thing with that I outside of the abuse accusation, I think that's a solid business plan, right? A rotating cast of characters, you pay them for their time, they're getting paid, they're able to get noticed and get a following, and then when they leave, they're able to take that and start their own brand. That's actually okay. But in theory, it's okay. In reality, with this guy, I don't think it was that okay. Now, 5 months ago, BuzzFeed learned that detectives had been called to Rylett's hotel near Walt Disney World in August after Rylett allegedly verbally abused a young woman. He allegedly demanded that she undress in front of him against her will, according to the report, and that she practiced wrapping her breasts down to make them appear smaller for the video shoot. The girl, who was under 16 at the time, claimed that Rylett touched her breasts and attempted to forcefully remove her underwear. He was arrested on charges that he had molested the girl, which, if that was true, then I'm not against that. Like, you don't invite a 16-year-old girl or an under 16-year-old girl to your hotel room and be like, listen, I need you to wrap down your boobs. All right. Have you seen Shakespeare in Love? Yeah, you're Gwyneth Paltrow in this scene. Like, don't do that. Like, why weren't her parents there? That's another question I have. But that's another thing. I have issues with some of these child stars and their parents and what their parents allow to have happen, and the parents not paying attention because they know that there's a fucking paycheck. Like, I get a little bit perturbed at that. I feel like parents should be more involved in this stuff, because then if this dude's at his hotel near Walt Disney World and he invites the 15-year-old girl over, like, where's the mom? Where's the dad? Where are they? Like, I think there's a level of blame there that should go on them. Like, I would never let my daughter do anything like that. You know, I'd be there with her the entire time. Like, oh, let's talk business. Okay, cool. It's on the up and up. Now, the arrest was a part of a series of troubling revelations involving YouTube and child exploitative content, which has started to become public in 2017. By the end of the year, after a public outcry, YouTube began cracking down on potentially exploitative child videos it was hosting, though the problem persisted. Most recently, YouTube has been under fire for the Momo challenge, in which a distorted woman's face was asking kids to harm themselves, supposedly supposedly in videos on the platform. It turns out that there was no evidence that the creepy meme was as widespread as the report suggests it was. Look, the Momo challenge has been around for a while. It keeps popping up. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, Momo, 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 Momo," right? Like it's not a thing. Like the Blue Whale challenge has had more of an impact on young people around the world than Momo. The two just get, no one looks at the Blue Whale challenge because it's not as creepy, even though it's actually harmed people. I think like there was a thing in Egypt last year where like 2 kids killed themselves because of the Blue Whale challenge. But yet Momo is what everyone talks about, even though there's no evidence that it's even really done anything. Now, according to a local news site, Click Orlando, Rylett had entered into a plea agreement to avoid a public trial and a possible 15-year prison sentence if he were convicted of molestation. His lawyer did not immediately respond to requests for comments. However, in exchange for pleading guilty to the child abuse, Rylett was sentenced to 90 days Orange County Jail in Florida, minus 29 days he'd already served while awaiting trial. So this dude was facing 15 years in prison, took a plea deal, spent 2 months. Wow. The thing is, though, it's like, I don't think that under 15 or that under 16-year-old girl was probably the first, if I'm being honest. I just think that was the only one who spoke out. I really do. Now, in September, after learning of Rylett's arrest, YouTube's response was fairly tepid. The company said they had simply demonetized his channels, but did not indicate that it had reached out to any of the teen girls and young women Rylett worked with. When BuzzFeed reported on the story at the time, Rylett's YouTube channels had been left dormant, but they were still online. And that's the thing too. YouTube, I don't think YouTube like knew how to respond to that. Like back then in September, things were different. Now after Matt's What It Is video and all like the advertisers pulling out and the YouTube Wake Up Challenge thing and I guess the Momo thing, if you want to call it that, whatever. The fact that you had like some of like the Filthy Frank content ending up on YouTube Kids videos. Like, yeah, they're at this point now, any sniff of that kind of stuff, and they're just going to be like deleted, they're going to alt F4 that shit. And it makes sense. But at the same time, it's like they should, I don't know, maybe put it in like like pull it down, but don't delete it outright until like we kind of get to this point where like, at this point he's pled guilty. He just pled down to a lesser charge, but he still pled guilty. Now, some could argue that he just, he's facing 15 years. He had no way to defend himself. It's possible he didn't do anything. She made it up, and this is what happens. He lost everything. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to think people lie about this, but there have been people who have lied in the past. So it says, meanwhile, Rylett is not permitted to have contact with the victim or her mother as part of the terms of the plea agreement. The court has also instructed him to not have any contact with any other minors except for his daughter. So yeah, but then again, it also says here that it appears that YouTube only took down the channels after he pled guilty, which that does make sense because at that point in the eyes of the law, he has actually confirmed that he is guilty. So they would get rid of it. But he had a bunch of channels, 9 million subs on his main one, up to 20 million across the board, 5 billion views. This dude has made some serious green. He's made some serious green. So at the end of the day, when he gets out, he'll be okay. I think at this point, the way I view this story is I just want to know the truth. Like, he pled down to a lesser charge, but I know people who have been like accused of shit and pled down to a lesser charge to avoid going to jail for a longer amount of time. Because if you gamble, you could lose and go away for a long period. And it is part of what our court system does in order to cut down on the cost of a trial. The DA will offer you something that is far more lenient than what you're up against in order to get you to say that you're guilty, in order to then go away so they can just kind of chalk it up as another win and then use it as a way to then campaign, oh, I'm 120-0. But are those all 120, 100% on the up and up? It's a question. However, in this particular case, because it deals with an underage minor and groping, Nobody wants to ask that question. And I'm not going to lie, guys. I don't want to either, even though I feel like someone should. It definitely ain't me. So that's the tough part about it. You know, that's the real damn tough part about it.